Hi, my name's Phil Gonzalez and I'm founder at Meteorbyte Studios. We're a small studio in the north of Spain, a small region called Asturias in a town called Oviedo. We've been developing Woodpunk for the past 2 years. It's an action beat-em-up shooter with roguelike elements. We started out in 2016 as a two-person studio. We were doing really small prototypes at that time, really small projects, until we ended up doing Woodpunk, which is what we're doing today, and we grew from 2 people to 4. Right now, we are, apart from myself, we have Paco, who's a programmer, there's Santi, who's in charge of marketing, and of course, we have Ulises, who is in charge of art. This studio was born out of both passion and necessity, since we wanted to work in video games. So we took the decision to, let's create a studio of our own. It was mid-2017 and the project was growing. We've been working for almost a year on it, and we figured out that we had to try to start, we have to try to move this game around so people can see it, right? We cannot just release it with nobody knowing about it. So we traveled to Gamescom, and there I met Andre Benhart from Target Games and Indie Advisor, and he introduced me to GTR. Just a few months later, we were flying to Melbourne to meet them there in Australia. And during the GTR conference, we were one of the 10 studios that were finally selected. This was a great moment, one of our biggest milestones as a studio, in fact. After this, we started working with GTR, and it's just not the investment they gave us, but also the value, the people you meet, all the networking you do, the support you have from them. All in all, I think we advanced the equivalent of 3 or 4 years in the span of a single year, so that was really good for us. Woodpunk is my first game ever. I didn't have barely amateur experience in making games, but I have been in the entertainment industry for almost 15 years now, starting off 10-12 years in the music industry before I started making video games seriously. I also have a software engineering background, so since music is, as most of you will know, not the best business today to make a living from, I thought, where can I go to have a creative profession? And video games just seemed like I seemed right at home with it. We started developing Woodpunk in mid to late 2016, and we finished in 2018, so it's just a little over 2 years. Since then, we've been updating it constantly and also developing the versions for all the 3 major consoles. For most of this time, we've been just 2 people with a little outside help here and there, but just 2 people. As I've said before, now we've grown to 4. And as you can see, with such a small size team, whether it's 2 or 4 people, there can be a lot of complications. There can be times where you crunch, which is, as you know, not a good thing. But I think that it's with experience and slowly improving through the development of several games, that you end up having a better general experience in the challenge of developing a game from start to finish. So Woodpunk was born in a game jam, actually. In August 2016, it was the Ludum Dare. I hope I didn't butcher that name. We started developing just a tiny game for that game jam. It was the theme was ancient technology. We made all this lore regarding middle-aged technology, where tanks are made of wood, everything is made of wood, chainsaws are made of wood, all that kind of stuff. And it worked out well. Turned out really, we could get a lot of funny situations from that. There's a lot of anachronistic jokes. We love that kind of humor where you get something from the future, you stick it in the Middle Ages. So Aquinas, the main character, is really broke. He works in pizza delivery. Of course, this game is set in Italy. It's anachronistic jokes that why do you do science? Why do you follow your passion? Just do something like, be a writer, be a painter, where you can make money like that, not in science, right? So We also have some puns and stuff, but the core of the jokes and the humor comes from there. And it's not a very in-your-face storyline, since it's an action game, right? You don't go to a burger place to ask for a salad, right? You want to fight. You don't want so much storyline. So the storyline is told in small snippets. In general, it's all, it just came together really nice. From the very beginning, we realized that we had to innovate, right? There's a lot of roguelike games out there. There's a lot of action games out there. We have to give something new to the players. If you're not gonna give something new, then just don't do it, right? So, apart from the storyline and the colorful style, what we wanted to add is a bunch of new mechanics to the genre. We realized, for a start, that most of these games have you fight handfuls of enemies at a time. You don't get a lot of intensity coming from big numbers, but from enemies that are really skilled in regards to what you are. We didn't want to do this here. We wanted to add a game where you could where the enemies really just swarm you for every side. So we optimized this artificial intelligence. We optimized all the physics so that the game could support up to 100, maybe 150 enemies at a time on screen. It becomes absolute mayhem, absolute chaos. One of the strongest points in Woodpunk. Since you play an inventor here, he is constantly picking up scrap and making new weapons with it. So you get these crazy combinations of machine gun bazookas and shotgun flamethrowers and sniper snowball launchers. We program the weapons so that they work piece by piece. You don't pick up a weapon, you pick up a weapon made from different parts, and every part gives the weapon its characteristic and its own personalities. With the system we made, it makes up for over 1,400, that's right, 1,400 different types of guns that you can craft with your character, which is, I think, in this genre, it's quite hard to see a game with such variety, and it's also mechanical variety, because it doesn't feel the same whatever type of weapon you have, right? The game also has a beat 'em up aspect. You have melee weapons, all these wooden chainsaws and swords and hammers, spears, whatever. And since we couldn't do the same with melee weapons, because there's animations, right? And melee weapons have a lot of animations, and you cannot have. It can explode into so many kinds of animations that we couldn't really handle that. What we tried to do is just create every type of weapon has its own mini game associated to it. So with the spear you can impale enemies and throw them. With the hammer you can click and hold and wait and then release and do a powerful strike. So every weapon type, there are several types of weapons among each weapon, but everyone has its own mini game, its own characteristics on how it plays out. I think we can brag about having some of the most unique bosses in 2D games out there. Like, I won't spoil anything, but there's bosses involving you to fight a formation, a phalanx of soldiers, and even an entire city at some point. So it's quite an interesting thing that I think you guys should check out. Well, the first 2 or 3 months were magical, really. I think it's the best part of making any game. People don't realize how quickly you can, sort out a prototype and have it there and show it to people. It's most of the work you end up doing is just polishing, adding more content on top of that, and creating all these saving, loading the game, and all the online stuff. That takes a lot of time. Creating all the maps, that takes a lot of time. But just having one map with one character and a few enemies, and having most of the base of the game there, and being able to show that to other people, take that to conferences, take that to game shows, and show it off, and see how people, how their eyes go, they just look at it for the first time and enjoy it, and you see people enjoying it for the first few times, that's really, really nice moment. Of course, again, something that was challenging and is challenging for every studio out there is funding, right? And for us, we had the help of GTR, and we had ways to luckily find funding before the game was even finished, so we didn't have to go 3 years without any money, which can be really stressful and really hard for people to work with. And if there's something I want you to take away with you, is your game, if you're developing a game, your game is worth something before it's finished. You can get funds before you finish your game, and it's the ideal way, because this will you'll start moving your game around, right? Before you even have something to show, you'll start moving it around, and you start doing advertising and getting the ball rolling already, and you don't wait until you have it just ready to go out of the door to start adding. You just start, hey, look at my game. If that has a process leading to that, then it's better, and you can just you'll likely find funding as well. Recently, we've been updating the game and programming the console ports for all 3 major consoles: Xbox One, PS4, and Nintendo Switch. Since the launch in late 2018, we've been updating the game with a lot of new systems, the perks and enhancement system, which you guys are loving right now, and a lot of new cool stuff is coming soon. So really, we intend to release all these console versions on later this year, 2019. So if you're watching at a later year, the game must be on consoles now. And we'll be updating the game for as long as you guys want to play it. It's a pleasure for us, and we will keep adding more and more content as time passes, for sure. First of all, my main suggestion is to treat your studio as what it is. It is a business, right? You are not any less of an indie developer, or you have no less personality for, doing your taxes properly, and having proper scheduling for your work, and in general knowing when to take time off, because yes, surprise, you need to have some vacation sometime. You're gonna be much less productive if you keep stressing yourself over and over again. Take a few days off. It's gonna be better. You're gonna work faster. You're gonna get there earlier if you space your work a little bit and wait some time in between, especially after a crunch. I'd rather not crunch, but if I have to do it, I try to rest a bit after it so that we can all recover our forces. Don't try to bite off more than you can chew. That's also important. If you are not sure of being able to do photorealistic art, don't try to do photorealistic art. It's going to look uncanny and clunky. And likewise, if you are not confident about your programming skills yet, try to do something easier until you improve. The important thing is that the game is good. If the game is good, you can still have a hit, even if it's not an artistic masterpiece or a masterpiece from a programming standpoint or design point. Try to do your own thing, try to work at a level you are comfortable, and eventually you'll move on and grow as a developer. You should go to discord.gg/MBS. That's Meteorbyte Studios, right? So discord.gg/MBS. Thank you for making it this far into the interview. I also want to thank GTR for this awesome thing today. And if you want to know more about us, more about the game, talk to us. You can find us at our Discord or social networks. You love the game? Tell us. You hate it? Tell us how much you hate us. Thanks for listening. Bye. Adios.